I've been using medicinal plants for many years, and I have put together this list based on the most widespread and useful plants I could think of. Many of these plants grow right outside your door in yards, gardens, trailsides, and disturbed areas. They're very approachable, safe to learn, and incredibly useful to have in your mental toolkit. I have more detailed videos on many of these plants on my channel, so feel free to peruse after you watch this video. Let's jump in. Let's start with dandelion because it's one of the most useful plants in the world. The leaves are a classic bitter herb that supports digestion and liver function, and they are also diuretic. The roots are used to support the liver, and they actually also contain prebiotic starches that feed healthy gut bacteria. That's called inulin. They can also be roasted to make a coffee-like beverage, which is pretty darn good, and you can infuse the flowers into oil for skincare. It's quite gentle, really abundant, and really versatile, so definitely worth knowing. Plantain is one of the best first aid plants to learn, like if you go camping and stuff, gotta know this one. When I get a bug bite, sting, splinter, or minor wound, I chew up a leaf and I apply it directly to the skin as a poultice. It works wonders for itchy mosquito bites, which I get a lot of. It helps draw things out, reduce inflammation, and support healing in the area, and it's really good for itchy things. You can also use it in teas to support the gut, so it's very soothing and healing. Keep in mind that there are two species of plantain, broadleaf plantain and narrowleaf plantain. Both of them can be used. And now that I've told you about this plant, you're actually going to start seeing it everywhere. It grows in sidewalks, lawns, trails, you name it. Speaking of awesome first aid plants, we got to talk about yarrow. It's especially known to help stop bleeding. You can apply the fresh plant directly to small cuts or wound. It also has antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties, which also help the wound. And yarrow is also used internally as a tea to support the immune system during colds and fevers, like if you have a cough, it can also help. And really good yarrow should be bitter and aromatic, so have a smell when you're harvesting. Yarrow is really common in the wild as a weed and a native wildflower, which is kind of weird. There's actually native and non-native plant populations genetically. And you can grow it really well in your garden, so this is a great one for a medicinal herb garden. Nettle is one of the most nutrient-dense plants you can work with. It's really rich in minerals like iron and calcium, and it's often used as a nourishing tonic herb. Many people drink nettle tea regularly just to support overall health, energy, and vitality. It's also commonly used for seasonal allergies. A tincture of the fresh leaf is best for that. And you can also use the seeds and roots medicinally. You want to check out my nettle seed video to hear more about that. And nettle does sting, so please wear gloves when you harvest it. But if you want to hear something really wild, people actually used to sting themselves with nettle for rheumatism, like on their knees that maybe were sore. And I have tried it and it's quite the experience and actually kind of effective. Red clover is a gentle and supportive herb that's often used for lymphatic system and skin health. It's commonly included in herbal blends for conditions like acne, eczema, or general detoxification. And you can also put it in teas to nourish the lungs, like a tea for asthma, for example. The flowers are usually prepared as a tea or infusion, and it's considered very safe and approachable plant for beginners, which is great. And it is a weed, so look in grassy meadows and forgotten corners of the garden, and you can introduce it by seed into your garden as well. Horsetail is a mineral-rich plant that's known for supporting hair, skin, nails, and connective tissue. It's really high in silica, which makes it a favorite for strengthening and repairing the body over time. I use it in teas, mineral broths, and sometimes in hair rinses. You want to gather horsetail when the side branches are still pointing upward in the spring. Once the little arms start to droop below a 90-degree angle, it's no longer usable. There are several species of horsetail, and some can get surprisingly large. Giant horsetail can actually grow taller than a person. And horsetail is pretty easy to recognize by its jointed, hollow stems and those whorled branches that look a bit like a bottle brush or a tiny pine tree. In my area, we have giant horsetail and common horsetail. Next is mallow. You can think of mallow as a plant that brings moisture and comfort to dry, irritated tissues. It contains mucilage, which is a slippery compound that helps calm irritation and inflammation in the digestive tract, respiratory system, skin, whatever it touches, basically. It's used as a tea for sore throats, coughs, digestive discomfort, especially dry coughs, obviously. My local species is dwarf mallow, but there are a lot of other species, so you'll have to do some digging to find your local one. The roots of mallow are the most used for medicinal purposes, but people also make tea of the leaves as well. You could say that elder is an elder of herbal medicine. It's been revered for a very long time by many different cultures. There's lots of different species. We use the flowers and the berries. The flowers are commonly used during the early stages of a cold or flu to support the immune system and encourage sweating because they're a diaphoretic. The berries are often made into syrups to support immune system function and recovery. This is a classic winter remedy that many families keep on hand, especially those with kids. And I also want to mention that the syrup of the flowers is absolutely delicious, my favorite summer beverage with a little club soda. Cleavers is a wonderful lymphatic herb. It's often used in the spring to support the body's natural cleansing processes and to help move fluid through the lymphatic system, but people also use it to help encourage lymphatic flow in the genitourinary tract. Many herbalists drink Cleavers tea as a seasonal tonic, but you can also make a juice in the springtime when it comes up. It's really distinctive. Once you feel the sticky texture, it kind of grabs you, you will never forget it. I like to make crowns from it, and you bet that kids will as well. Burdock root is an herb well loved and used by both Asian and European traditions. It's used to support the liver and the skin, especially for chronic skin conditions like acne or eczema. The root is often prepared as a decoction or a tincture. You want to just dig it up, chop it up, and dry it so you can use it. And it's also an edible plant. It's widely used in Asian cuisines, which makes it a great example of how food and medicine often overlap. Yellow dock is another root medicine that supports digestion and mineral absorption. It's often used in formulas for iron deficiency, not because it contains iron, but because it helps the body better utilize iron. It also has mild laxative properties, making it helpful for sluggish digestion. And this plant is a plant that works slowly and steadily over time, so be patient. It enjoys puddles, boggy areas, and wasteland vibes, so that is where you're going to look. Rose is more than just a beautiful flower that smells really amazing. It is also a powerful emotional and physical medicine. The petals are often used as a gentle nervine, helping to calm the nervous system and support emotional well-being. I mean, think about how good you feel when you smell a rose. It's also wonderful for the skin. It's a little bit astringent and has a lot of antioxidants in it. So it's commonly used in oils, salves, and facial preparations. I love putting rose hydrosol on my face every morning. It's part of my face care routine. It's a plant that brings both comfort and beauty. Hawthorn is one of the most respected herbs for heart health. The berries, leaves, and flowers are all used to support the cardiovascular system, improve circulation, and strengthen the heart over time. So this is, again, something you want to take long-term as a tonic herb every day. It is a slow, steady, and deeply nourishing medicine. There are several different species. We have a native species here in the Pacific Northwest called Crataegus douglasii, which is black hawthorn, and then one-seed hawthorn is very widely spread throughout the United States. Mullein is a really classic respiratory herb. The leaves are used in teas to support the lungs, especially during coughs, colds, or respiratory irritation. They help with fluid balance, and they also help soothe lung tissue. The mullein flowers can also be infused to make an ear oil. Garlic is often added. And mullein is super common throughout the US, loves growing in dry wasteland type areas. Like you see it next to the train tracks, but never harvest next to the train tracks because there's a lot of toxins there. But it also loves after wildfires. So that's one of my favorite places to look. There's a lot of wildfires in my area. So I go look for mullein in those places. Foxglove is a poisonous lookalike of mullein, so take a moment to make sure your idea is correct and do not harvest if you are in doubt. Cedar is well known as an antifungal plant, but it's also wonderfully soothing for skin irritation. I make hydrosols and infused oils with cedar. They both smell amazing and they're very gentle on the skin. There are a lot of different trees that we can call cedar. Here where I live in the Pacific Northwest, the most common is western red cedar, which is what I have the most experience with. But there's also Alaska yellow cedar and even trees like coast redwood that can be used in similar ways. Each cedar has its own signature scent and slightly different medicinal uses, so take time to get to know your local species and see what its vibe is. Cedar trees are really easy to recognize. They have flat, scale-like leaves, small cones, and bark that's usually fibrous and vertically grooved. California poppy is a gentle, calming herb that's used usually to support sleep, reduce anxiety, and just help the nervous system relax. Unlike stronger sedative herbs, California poppy is generally mild and well tolerated. I harvest the whole plant and make a tincture, so including the root. And the flavor of this plant is a little too acrid to be good as a tea, so I don't recommend that. This is another plant that you can introduce to your garden, and it reseeds itself. It is also super beautiful and bright. St. John's wort is well known for supporting the nervous system. It's often used for mild to moderate depression and nerve pain. And you can use the infused oil too topically for nerve injuries and muscle pain. One super important note, this herb can interact with a lot of different pharmaceutical medications, so it's always worth learning more before using it internally. This is a non-native weed in the US, and it loves growing in gravel and floodplains. And it also loves roadsides, but you want to avoid harvesting there as a lot of roadsides are sprayed. Willow is a traditional pain-relieving plant which contains compounds related to aspirin called salicylates. It has been used for centuries to reduce pain and inflammation. Personally, I use the tincture for headaches and menstrual cramps mostly, but I also infuse it into witch hazel for skin irritations and minor wounds. You can spray it on. If you harvest it in the late spring or early summer, the bark is super easy to peel off. And this is a great example of how modern medicine often has deep roots in plant medicine. Poplar buds are resinous and aromatic, and they are typically infused into oil to make salves for sore muscles, minor wounds, and skin irritations. The buds contain aromatic resins with strong antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties, but they also contain some salicylates like willow, which are anti-inflammatory. They also smell absolutely incredible. I love to make pine resin and poplar bud salve, which smells amazing. I have a recipe in my book, Medicinal Plants of the Pacific Northwest, if you're interested. These buds are harvested in the winter from fallen branches or trees, and the trees always grow near rivers, creeks, and lakes. Mugwort is an herb with a very long history of use all around the world, Asia, Europe, you name it. It is often used to support digestion, regulate menstrual cycles, and to promote vivid dreaming or relaxation before sleep. Personally, I love to use it in a face oil because it actually improves microcirculation. It's a really strong aromatic plant that a lot of herbalists just feel really deeply connected to, which myself included. This is another plant that you can grow in your garden. There are a lot of native and non-native species to choose from. Here in Washington State where I live, we have like 9.
That's a wrap. I highly recommend checking out my 2 published foraging books. A lot of the plants we talked about today are in this book, along with lots more information and recipes. I also wanted to let you know that I have a lot of content over on Patreon, a lot of like printable handouts and guides and such. So if you would like to support my work, please go over and join us there.